Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. Today is Hump Day. Today, I'm honored to be with Latasha Behlin. Not only is she one of our real estate agents here at Bennett Realty Solutions, she's also a top credit repair. In my mind, she's the credit repair queen. And so we're here to talk about all things credit repair. If you guys have any questions, please go into the comments section, make comments, ask questions. We're here to answer all of your credit repair needs. Credit is just so important in our daily lives. And so, Latasha, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell us how you got into credit repair?
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Greg, for having me. It's a pleasure to be one of your distinguished guests on the Big Life Show. And, again, my name is Latasha Rozier-Behlin, you guys, born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area. And I really became passionate about credit when I needed to understand credit myself. I found the service and the program that was allowing me to remove some negative items from my credit report that I didn't even realize was having such a huge impact on the things that I was trying to accomplish. And once I started to see those results, it was very intriguing as to how in the world can a service like this really get something where I know I didn't pay off of my credit report. And I began to educate myself more and more about it, and tried to really start with my family as far as teaching and helping them achieve some of the results that I've received. And in doing that, by word of mouth, it really just put me into an area where a lot of people now just know me as the go-to person when it comes to educating them about credit, repair services, and even just knowledge to really help you build if you don't need repairing service. So I became passionate about this for over almost 8.5 years now. So
Wow.
I'm excited to be with you today.
So what did you do before credit repair?
Wow. So before credit repair, I was a personal assistant for an international tax firm to the managing partner there. And I was working with him for almost 10 years. And while working there, I ended up getting laid off. It was a no fault to him. He decided to close the business. He was getting old. And I started to pursue entrepreneurship full time since then. So I've been a full time entrepreneur for about the last 6.5 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so how does it feel? How does it feel every day waking up, controlling your own destiny? I'm sure there's been some nervousness at times, but to know that you control your own destiny, sky's the limit. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for don't want to tell my age, but many years, many more years than you. And so how does it feel? How does that feel? Not having to punch the clock, not being overworked and underpaid, but just kind of controlling your own destiny.
It really is a good feeling. And sometimes it really is unimaginable, being the age that I am. And I don't mind telling my age. I'm almost 45 years old. I've been accustomed to from 9 to 5 life since I was 18 years old. So to transition from that out of so many years to see, why entrepreneurs really go through and sacrifice to, be the boss that they are really born to be, it really makes you feel great. And like you said, there are ups and downs. There are days where you don't make any money, and there are days where you make a ton of money. But
right.
When you're doing your passion, the money isn't really the objective. It never feels like a job, and you love what you do.
Absolutely. So in talking about credit repair, and I know that credit repair is power. And so we entitled the podcast "Credit Repair is Power." What does that mean for you? Credit repair is power.
Well, the power of credit, so to speak, is something that everyone needs to understand, and it's something that we're not taught about, growing up, coming out of high school, and even in college. So people don't realize that credit repair is a service not only to help, remove and address anything that's negative on your credit report, but it really should be educating you at the same time, which is what I really take pride in. There are a lot of companies and a lot of people that, definitely know how to provide you with the service, but they're not providing you with the knowledge so that you don't really go backwards, from what we're able to help you get out of. So the power of credit is something that people really need to be aware of, because you need your credit for just about anything that you want to accomplish in life. So it is powerful, and it really is more powerful than cash, I will say.
No, absolutely. I have a 23-year-old daughter, and almost from day one, we started talking about credit. And I kept educating her. When she got of age, I got her Navy Federal credit card. When she was, I think, a sophomore in college, I co-signed on a car for her just to help her build her credit,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of counseled her to the point that the same year she graduated from college, she graduated from college at 22 years old. She applied for and purchased a house. And so now she owns her own house now. She's 23 now. But it was all because of her credit. Now, obviously, I gave her the guidance and helped her with the house buying process.
That's
But it
awesome.
was because of her credit and her due diligence in terms of keeping her credit clean, that she was able to buy a house. And she knows, she'll ask me, she says, Daddy, she asked me this week, because she wanted to buy something for her house. She said, can I buy, I think she wanted to buy a flat screen TV for her bedroom. And she said, can I use my debit card to buy this TV to put in my house, to put in my bedroom? And I
Mhm.
said, I was thankful for the question, because what it told me was she's conscious of her credit. Now, I explained to her, and you can explain it better than me, that a debit card is just like using cash, so it's not going to affect your credit. And it's not a credit card; it's debit. So definitely, you can go ahead and use that. And even if it was a credit card, um, go ahead and buy it, but make sure you pay it off, this month. Um, but it's just that mindset, and I think credit goes to mindset and responsibility.
Yes.
And so that's what I've tried to instill, and I know that you instill that in other people as well.
Absolutely. I've really done a good job, I think, of trying to instill that in my son as well. My son's 23 years old, and he's done a good job so far, maintaining his credit. But people don't realize, and they're afraid of credit because, again, they're not educated about it. And this is how we mismanage it. And credit card becomes, an astronomical debt that people fear, and it becomes a collection and charge off on their credit report. But using your credit versus a debit card gives you way more advantages than a debit card ever will. Like I said, cash is king, but credit is definitely power. So your daughter is absolutely going in the right direction by, wanting to understand, should I use the credit card or should I use my debit card? Because the credit card can, help her accumulate points, for other purchases. It can also help her accumulate points to help rise her credit score past 700 all the way to 850. A
Right.
debit card gives you none of those privileges. So the cash that you put into your checking account really, really should be used to pay off the things that you use for your credit card.
That's a good point, and that's why I use my credit cards. I've got American Express, and I'm real conscious about building up reward points. Like, I'm excited, and so the goal of the game I play is how many reward points can I earn every year, and I use the reward points to pay for Christmas gifts, because I always just use it at the end of the year, and things like that. So credit cards are powerful,
Yes.
and they are to be used, but they have to be used wisely. And I do think that, unfortunately, I think a lot of us misuse credit cards, and then our credit scores go down and we fall into debt, things like that. But what do you, in terms of credit repair, what do you say to someone who says, well, I'm just going to go ahead and repair my credit myself, versus getting someone to help me repair my credit?
I tell them good luck. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly, though.
But no, seriously. There are ways that we all can repair and fix things that may be damaging our credit on our own. But what I do like to tell people is, just like how to put oil in your car, do you go out and do that? Just like we know how to buy a lawnmower and maybe cut our own lawn. Do we go out and do that? No, we kind of pay the experts that understand and know how to do it better than us, so that we can get the best results possible. So fixing your own credit, you can definitely do it. You just have to have the mindset to understand it's very time consuming, it's very tedious, and it's not just about simply writing a letter, and God forbid disputing it on Credit Karma or any other of these credit monitoring sites, because a lot of people don't realize when you do an online dispute via Credit Karma, you are giving away your arbitration rights to continuously redispute that over and over again if it's verified within that first cycle. So letters is always the best practice, and you got to understand the language that needs to go in those letters as well. So it's not just about writing, hey, this isn't 100% accurate on account on my credit report, please remove it. There are laws within the FCRA, which stands for the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that needs to be specifically said in these letters that the bureaus will pay more close attention to than someone that's just writing a basic generic letter to the bureaus.
And so, in general, how are credit scores calculated?
So your credit score is calculated 5 different ways. It's like a pie chart, right? And within that pie chart, you have the biggest way that your score is calculated at 35% being your payment history. So we got to get in the habit of paying all of our bills on time. One late payment can drop your score as much as 45 to 50 points. And I've seen that be very detrimental to a lot of clients because of the pandemic. Accounts have gone 60, 90 to 120 days late. And once it gets past 120 days, that's when it goes to charge-off status. And you can really see your score drop even more, because now you're erasing all of the history that you've built up, to maintain that card. So that's the first way your score is calculated. The second way is 30% being your utilization. And this is another very big, important tool that I really think if we are educated about it up front, we wouldn't be in so much credit card debt, right? So when people get a credit limit, or congratulations, you have this credit card for $1,000, we have been taught the mindset, okay, this is like my debit card. I have $1,000 I can really go out here and spend. But in the credit world, you don't. You only have 30% maximum of that, which is only $300. And that's really not a lot of money, So we have to be taught and trained that just because you've been extended this line of credit, that doesn't mean all of this is available to you to ensure that your credit score is always increasing and not decreasing. 15% is your length of credit. The longer you've had credit accounts, the more points you'll begin to see. And this really starts to take effect once you had an account for about 7-8 years or longer. So definitely don't close your accounts, because you need that history to maintain and get yourself to 850. And then the last 10% is new credit. We're allowed to have 1 to 4 inquiries a year without it really affecting our score. Once you go above that, it really begins to tell a story that you're desperate for credit. And we don't want to have that weighing on our shoulders. So 1 to 4 inquiries a year is good. Try not to go above that. And then you want to have a mixture of good credit as well. That's 10%. So you want to have credit cards. You want to have a mortgage. You want to have a car loan. You want to have store credit cards. When you have a good mix of credit, and all of those things are tied together in a good way, you'll maintain an 800 to 850 all day long.
And just to kind of reiterate, what are like the top 2 or 3 ways to increase your credit score?
Well, there are some ways that you can possibly do right now to help you increase your credit. One, if you have credit, pay down your credit card debt. Once you bring it all down to 30% or less, you'll see your score go up automatically. But some other ways to really help you build is becoming an authorized user on someone that has great credit, get on their account, piggyback off of their information. That really will help boost your score in, a matter of 30 days or less once it hits your credit report. Another way to help you build is getting a secured credit card. A lot of people don't realize that even though you may have a low credit score, sometimes you could get denied for a secured credit card. So having access to links where they're going to approve you for a secured card is very key and crucial. So 200 to 300, if you can provide more of your own monies to show that you're responsible on paying your own money back, will eventually lead from a secured card to an unsecured card. So having that type of account will definitely help you improve your credit. And the third way I've seen a lot of people improve their credit in a least amount of time is by adding their rental history onto their credit report. Our rent is the biggest expense people pay, and you don't get credit for it at all, unlike a mortgage. So there are companies out there that will allow you to put, if you pay $1,000 in rent a month, that's $12,000 worth of positive good history going onto your credit report, which you will see an immediate boost, once that line actually hits your report. So those are like 3 quick things people can do and see a good increase within about 30 to 45 days.
And I didn't know about the you could put your rental history onto your credit. How does that work? How do you do that?
So there are companies out there that will basically verify with your landlord how much rent you pay and do you pay it on time. So there's a company called Credit My Rent, and there's also a company called Rental Karma. They charge you a nominal fee, maybe $39 for the activation and $9.99 a month if you want to have it continuously reporting. But it's definitely worth the investment to have, $1,000 to $1,500 that you pay in rent, reporting to your credit every single month.
And I think that's important to do, especially if you want to go from renting to then owning. I think it's imperative to do that. You guys get with Latasha. She's going to give her all of her information at the end, but get with her at the end. Those of you who are renting now, I mean, that nugget right there is like, it will prepare you for going from renting to owning. Does negative information have to stay on your credit report, let's say from 7 to 10 years?
No. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Once, let's just say, an account does go to charge off or collection status, they'll just say, well, you know what, I'll just let it sit there. It'll fall off in 7 years. First of all, you can dispute anything that's on your credit as soon as it hits your credit report. Please don't think that you have to wait 7 years for, that account to fall off. And I've seen cases where an account has been on someone's report past 7 years. And that's because we're not in the habit of checking our credit report regularly. So in that instance, that's easily to get removed because it's past the statute of limitations. But if something hits your credit report tomorrow, you can dispute it and, potentially have it removed within 30 to 45 days.
How about business credit? We have a question. How do you build business credit?
So business credit, I will tell you, starting it will piggyback off of your personal credit, right? So your personal credit is something you want to address first in order for you to establish yourself business credit. But there are 3 things you want to do to really prepare. First, you want to think of a business name and you want to get that, LLC, sole proprietorship. You want to get your business established, right? 2, you want to get an EIN, which is like a social security number for your business. Once you get that LLC, get your EIN established and connected to that business so that you can begin to take the next step, which is getting yourself a business checking account. That's going to be very, very important in order for you to establish business credit, because just like we check your income to provide you with how much credit limit you'll get on your personal credit, they will want to check the income of your business as well to see how much credit they can extend you on that side as well. So those are 3 steps you can, really take to start to prepare yourself for business credit. But it's still very important to address your personal credit as well, because you will be your personal guarantee, when you're first starting out with business credit.
Yeah, and so I have business credit, and it's almost, once you do the steps that you just mentioned, it's almost like your personal credit. For business credit, I've had to take out credit cards, and so the American Express that I just talked about, I actually have in my business name, and I did that to build my business credit so that I could then get lines of credits and loans and things like that. I have loans and credit cards in my business name, but it's because over the years I've established those things through credit cards and loans and things like that. So I think you've got to look at your business credit in the same manner that you look at your individual. Individual, we get credit cards, and when we pay them, we keep them down below 30%. We pay them the same month. It's the same as on the business side. And on the business side, they offer you credit cards, and don't take that lightly. But only use it initially. I just used it for like gas and things like that. But now I've got real high credit limits that I don't take advantage of. I like the American Express because you got to pay it right back that same month. But it establishes your business credit, and I think in most cases they want to see a credit history for at least 2 years. And so, but by doing so, I've been actually able to buy houses in one of my business names, one of my LLCs. I now buy houses. I finance my buy and holds through my business credit through one of my LLCs. So it's just as important. Some of the same things you do on the individual side, you do on the business credit side.
Absolutely.
Are credit bureaus a part of a government agency or government authority?
No, not at all. And, a lot of people really do think that they are, but credit bureaus are just like any other business. They're just established to make money. And the way they make money, and the reason why a lot of people have a lot of inaccuracies on their credit report, is because the bureaus don't verify any information. Creditors like Capital One and Wells Fargo, and even the AT&Ts and the Comcast that make all the charge-offs, they pay TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax to report this information about you. And they don't verify that because they receive money up front, and they can care less if the information is accurate or not. So they're simply in the business to make money and sell our information, which is why we get tons of junk in the mail. So the junk mail that we get is not by mistake, because junk mail can look different from one person to another. Someone that has great credit, they're getting offers for 0 money down, car loans, other types of accounts. People that have less than perfect credit, they're getting debt consolidation letters and, other ways where you're really going to trap yourself and try to get yourself into, not an even better situation. So again, they sell our information to third parties, which is how they make their money. And they're not a government authority at all.
And so, Latasha, what are the 3 credit bureaus, and what, if any, are any differences between the 3?
So you have Experian, you have Equifax, and you have TransUnion. Those are the 3 major credit bureaus that most companies report to. They are no different, but I will say they do have different guidelines, which, any company is allowed to have. And certain companies only report to certain bureaus. So you may have a collection account that's only reporting to Experian and Equifax, and it's not reporting to TransUnion. And for whatever reason, we don't know what that is. But we do know that if any negative information goes to any of the credit bureaus, it does weigh heavily on you, especially when you're trying to apply for, apartments, cars, mortgages, and things of that nature.
And so I have an account. I told you this earlier. I have an account with Capital One, which I get a free credit score through a company called CreditWise. I also have Navy Federal, and I don't know what the company they use, but Navy Federal will give you a credit score. And so I recently went to refinance one of my rental properties, And when the mortgage lender ran my credit, they told me I had a credit score of like 710. And I said, well, no, CreditWise said my credit score is like 790. And so what's the difference? What's the difference in like a CreditWise or I think a Credit Karma versus, what, those banks are, the bureaus are reporting?
That's a great question. And a lot of people don't understand and are confused by that as well. But people don't understand that there are two different scoring models when it comes to our credit score. There's the Vantage score model, which is what CreditWise and Credit Karma and Credit Sesame uses. And then there's the FICO score model, which is what our mortgage lender, our credit card companies, rental apartments, they use our FICO score. So when you see the difference in the two, that is the reason. So really, you want to understand that CreditWise and other credit monitoring services, they're great for making sure that the line items that are reporting on your credit report are actually there and accurate. But your scoring in general, it's always going to be higher than what the lender actually sees. So in practice, what I try to tell people, if they're in the process of trying to refinance or make a big purchase, myfico.com is really the best monitoring service to invest into, because it not only gives you your FICO score, it provides you with 9 different FICO scores. So FICO, yeah, that's something that they use, but people don't realize there are 9 different models, based on the type of credit you're trying to extend to someone, what your score is calculated on. So my FICO is the most expensive, but it definitely is the better investment to ensure you're in the right position to apply for the things that you're trying to get.
And so, Latasha, when you're doing credit repair, what are some of the common denominators or things that you see on a regular basis that people just aren't being responsible? What are some of the main things that you're seeing that you need to help with credit repair?
Well, the main thing, as we spoke about earlier, is the late payments. People take late payments very lightly, and they shouldn't. And late payments are a lot harder to remove than something that has been gone to collection or charge off, I will say. So late payments are definitely very damaging. And then making sure that they're not overutilizing their credit that they have. So it really all goes to education, which I like to provide people within in analysis that I give. So sometimes people may not even need credit repair. It is more about education and teaching you how to build your credit versus the repairing part. But I see collections and charge-offs that, are 5-6 years old that people didn't even realize it can be removed from their credit report, and they're just waiting for that 7th year for it to fall off. But really, late payments as of the last year and a half has really something that's been top of the list for a lot of clients.
And then, so we do have a question in terms of paying off credit. What do you recommend in terms of strategies for paying off credit? Have you ever heard of getting a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, to pay off debt? What do you recommend to your clients in terms of paying off debt?
So there are different ways for clients to pay off debt. But first of all, what I want to tell people about that is making sure that you pay your balance in full is very important versus paying increments every single month. That's one thing. You want to ensure that you don't carry a balance into the following month to make sure that you're getting the most points possible every 30 days. A lot of people say the minimum amount due is what I'll pay, and I'll continuously pay that over time to make sure that my card gets back down to 0. And that's really not the best practice. You want to only use your card, first of all, for what you can afford to pay back in full in 30 days. And in regards to the home, the HELOC,
yeah,
you can definitely, if you have great credit, because again, you want to ensure that your HELOC, the interest rate that you're getting on that is definitely lower than the credit card debt that you have and you intend to pay. So ensuring that you have a great credit score, first of all, is very important before you decide to get a HELOC. But a HELOC is something that you can definitely utilize to, make sure you're paying down your debt and pay off your debt. And then you can use it for other things as well, depending on the amount of HELOC you're approved for.
Yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend when you're paying off credit card debt, what's the average interest rate? Is around 15% or more that your credit that the interest on your credit card?
It can vary, but I've seen cards be as less as 18%, and I've seen cards be above 28%. So
So
it depends on. It
between
depends
18
on.
and 20, if one was to get a HELOC now, I mean, you're looking at around, I don't know, 3 or 4%. So to answer the question, it just makes a lot of sense as an option to get a HELOC and pay off that debt. I mean, you're saving a whole lot of interest.
Absolutely.
And then you can move forward from there.
Absolutely.
Can credit repair stop a garnishment?
No. No. A lot of people think that too. And again, I try to be as very transparent with people as I can, because people are willing, to pay you whatever it is that you charge if you're saying that you can get rid of a garnishment. And I'm just not the one to, take people's money if there is no need to. The only thing that stops a garnishment, you guys, is a bankruptcy. I'm gonna be totally honest. Bankruptcy is the only thing that can stop that. And a lot of times I don't even recommend a bankruptcy. If you don't have 20,000 or more in debt, a bankruptcy is something that you really should try to steer clear of, because it can be very damaging to your credit report, and it's going to hinder you from doing a lot of things that you want to do for a couple of years. But the only thing that can stop a garnishment is a bankruptcy. And a lot of times you still want to get counseled on that, because sometimes that still may not be the best answer.
Is another strategy for improving your credit score is to make 2 payments every month?
Yes, it is. A lot of people don't know that trick. And I was able to kind of give people that tidbit over the weekend at your financial planning event.
Yeah, I didn't know that on my own. I learned that Saturday.
Yes. So let's talk about that. So our credit card cycles, you guys, it goes in either 25 to 28 day cycles. Let's just say, for example, you have $100 payment that's due in 30 days. First of all, you have to call your credit card company and find out when your cycle ends in order for this trick to work. So prior to your due date, you want to make one payment at least 10 to 15 days prior to your cycle end, and then make the remaining of the $50 balance that's left due prior to the 30-day due date. What you're doing is you're tricking the system as if you made 2 payments, but really you've only made 1. So that really gives you, more points versus making just that one single payment prior to your due date. And you'll really see a huge advantage to your score going up every 30 days.
Yeah, those are nuggets that we need to know in order to get our credit score up. Credit repair, it's not illegal, is it?
No, it's not illegal at all. Everyone has the right, as far as your own self, to fix your own credit. And there are credit repair companies that can, help you as well. Just like I stated before, there are experts out here like myself that know a little bit more than the average person, which will get you better results. But credit repair is definitely legal, and it's been happening since 1971, which was when the Fair Credit Reporting Act was incepted.
And so what type of accounts can be removed from your credit report?
There's nothing that can't be removed from your credit report. I've seen student loans get removed. I've had child support, been able to get removed from clients' profiles, even tax liens and foreclosures. So it can be as small as a medical bill all the way up to a student loan. You just have to understand and, be transparent with your client to let them know that it definitely takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And if you have a student loan, expect to be, in credit repair, whether you do it on your own or with an expert, a little longer than someone that may have, a medical bill or utility bill or something that's not as detrimental. But if you let people know that up front, they can really appreciate it in the long run to understand, what they're getting themselves into and how soon they should start to see their results.
And so, Latasha, what does it feel like to help someone overcome that challenge or that barrier of bad credit, to improve that credit so that they can really live their lives and realize their dreams of maybe home ownership or buying the car that they've always wanted, or just kind of feeling free that they can now live their lives with not being under the barriers of bad credit? How does that feel for you?
It's very fulfilling. Me being just a natural helper and a natural giver, it just really feels good that I've been able to put so many people in position, not just in the Washington, D.C. area, but nationwide. I've helped people from the West Coast to the East Coast. I've done, presentations and seminars all across the country. And it really feels good to have people call you and just say thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be able to buy my home. Thank you so much, for allowing me to even be able to rent again. It really is fulfilling. And I just feel like the more people I help, the more it helps me. God and the karma that I receive it's just been on high level because I've been able to, help other people. And that's why I'm kind of committed into doing this and finding other things that I can really put myself into that will just help other people to the next level to live a big life, so to speak. So, I'm just excited to be a part of, a service and services that really can change someone's life.
Speaking of which, we both are entering into the financial services space. I've started a company. You'll be a part of it soon, which is insurance, helping people with retirements, helping people preserve their wealth, things like that. What is credit? How does credit play a role in insurance, if any?
People don't realize when you're trying to get yourself car insurance, your credit plays a huge part. It's really not about the color car you have, how many parking tickets you have out there, what's your driving record. Your credit score plays a part in your premium, guys. So the higher your credit score, the lower your premium. I've seen so many clients that I've helped over the past, and I tell them, hey, call your car insurance company and try to get another quote. They'll pull their credit and their premium will decrease anywhere from $75, and I've seen as high as $120. So having great credit is something that everyone should work towards, because having bad credit is too expensive. And especially if we're going into retirement, as we're getting older, we need to save as much money as possible. So being able to save on interest rates, no money down offers, these are things we need to be having our mindset put towards, so that when retirement comes, we're living a stress-free life.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's what it's all about. And that's why I'm happy that we're both in the financial services space, so we can help people with retirement. And that's what I want to do, is really help people, as you just said, live a stress-free life in retirement. We work so hard trying to make a good living for ourselves, for our children, that in retirement, we don't need those types of stresses. Mm-hmm. And we set ourselves up and we allow credit to help us set ourselves up so we can live, a stress-free life and live our best life. Credit plays a major role in that. And so that's what we want people to know. Just kind of in closing, Latasha, what are some of the top tips that that you can give to help people live that stress-free life, but not get into debt?
Awesome. Well, first things first, don't be afraid of credit, you guys. A lot of people that start off with the program, all of their accounts, or their credit accounts, I should say, have been gone to collection and charge off because they just weren't educated about it. And then they're afraid to go back and open another credit card. But having credit is something that's going to be very crucial and important for you to even get above 700. You know, we talked about the 5 ways of your score being calculated. If you have no credit at all, you're missing, 85% of the pie. The pie is just going to be based on no information. So don't be afraid to get yourself back into the credit world. Just be educated about it so that you don't do the same mistakes that you've made previously. So paying your bills on time, very, very important. Not over leveraging your credit, super, super important. And don't apply for so much credit, at one time. Pace yourself. And what I like to say is once you get that mortgage, you guys, especially to my renters out there, you'll be able to get whatever it is that you want. So shoot for that mortgage line of credit first before you go out and get the car, before you go out and just make these big purchases that's not going to be able to invest into your future. That mortgage line of credit is so powerful because it looks like responsibility to the credit world. And then once you have that reporting, everything else will fall into place. So just being more educated, putting yourself in a position to get with someone like myself, to just teach you about your own personal profile and the things that you need to do to really live a better life in 2022 and beyond.
Perfect. One last question. What do you say to people that kind of live beyond their means and try to keep up with the Joneses and the latest styles, and the girls are going to Aruba, you really can't afford it, but you go anyway? What do you say to that in terms of sacrifice and living within your means and living for a better life in the future?
You have to put your goals first. When you have a why, establishing what your why is, it will help you better, make a decision before you splurge on a trip or splurge on a purse or, splurge on things that are unnecessary. When you make sacrifices, you can achieve anything that you want in life. A lot of people drink Starbucks every day and sometimes 4 or 5 times a day. That one expense, can be placed towards you becoming a homeowner or you starting your business. If you just go in and manage the things that you don't need, that is the first step to help you get towards your goals. So being aware and conscious, and just keeping up with your own last name and not the Joneses will really put you in a position to win in life. So I'm so glad that I've been able to have that mindset for a long, long time, to just not be a follower. And not to say following someone isn't a bad thing. You just got to follow the right people, So just be mindful, you guys, and have your why in front of you. Have your goal, on your refrigerator, in your bathroom. See that thing every day, and you'll be able to reach your goals in no time.
And like you said, it's about sacrifice. And sometimes it's better to buy a Coach bag versus a Hermes bag.
Yes, it is.
Am I right, Latasha?
You got that right, Greg. You are hilarious.
That's a little inside joke, you guys.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Greg, you're so funny.
We've got a question. Vanessa says she was on the webinar late. Can I get the name of your company and your contact information? So go ahead and give out all your contact information. How can people get a hold of you?
Awesome. Well, again, my name is Latasha Rozier-Behlin. My company is LDR Credit and Financial Solutions. LDR standing for Life Demands Results. You can reach me on my website at www.ldrcreditsolutions.com. You can reach me direct at 240-353-8440. And I'm on all social media channels at Grow with Latasha. Let's grow, you guys.
Absolutely. Let's have that big life. And so you guys, if there's not any other questions that you guys have, contact Latasha. Let's start preparing for the new year. 2022 has to be our biggest year, our best year ever, it begins and ends with credit. It begins and ends with credit. So let's get our credit straight. I've gone through credit restoration in my lifetime, wasn't ashamed to do it, knew it was a means to an end. So I did it many years ago. And honestly, it fixed my life. It put me from going through the recession, and I went through this recession in 2008. It got hit real hard, but credit repair got me out of that. And it got me back on track to buying properties and, kind of doing what I do. But let credit repair and let your credit lead the way so that 2022 can be your biggest year. Get a hold of Latasha. This podcast will be on all of my podcast sites, on my YouTube. Replay it, get her information. She's part of Bennett Realty Solutions as well, if you want to, call her there. But let's go, you guys. Let's live our best life. Let's have a big life. And once we get the education, let's spread that education and educate others throughout our community.
Very key.
If one of us wins, we all should win. So each one teach one. That's where we need to be. And let's go. 2022 is around the corner. Let's do it. All right, Latasha, it was great having you here. Thank you for all the nuggets. And God bless you. All right, you guys, have a great hump day. Contact us if you need to. But let's have that big life. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy your day.